Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be another Canadian Soldier Reacts video, and today we're going to look at the top 10 things only Canadians do. And I'm going to tell you if these guys got it right or not. So before we get into the video, if you like what you see, please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Really helps us out here. Talk in the comments down below. Love talking to you guys. So let's get into it.
It's now synonymous with Canada. Slang for our dollar, an image recognized around the world.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 things only Canadians do and think it's normal.
Well, that was interesting right off the bat.
Counting down our picks for the top 10 things only Canadians do.
This is the Simpsons, and Marge has a Canadian flag in one hand and a Quebec flag in the other hand, which is a little bit weird. Quebec is the only French province in Canada, primarily French province. New Brunswick is the only bilingual province in Canada. Both French and English. It's weird that she would be waving a Quebec flag and a Canadian flag. But
Do and think it's normal.
Again, still the Simpsons, and they truncated the Canadian national anthem. There's a couple of different ways to sing it, but the most common way, or at least when I was still in Canada, the most common way was you sing "O Canada" twice. Sometimes they sing it in French and in English.
For this list, we're looking at aspects of Canadian culture that may appear unusual in other parts of the world.
Air Force?
They're completely normal in the Great White North. And I should know, I am Canadian.
Oh, okay. Look at that. I remember those I Am Canadian commercials. They were funny.
What do you think is the most unusual thing about Canucks?
Oh, yeah,
Let
that's
us know in
fun.
the comments.
I'm assuming she's going
Number
to get
10,
into that.
eat ketchup-flavored
Oh.
chips. Whether you call them chips
Love ketchup chips, dude.
or crisps, Canada is a Commonwealth country after all, flavored potato chips are a common snack across the globe.
Okay, this is funny. So, obviously, this is kind of a joke about how hard it is to get ketchup out of the bottle when you first open it up. Ketchup chips, never found them down in the States, but when the in-laws come down, they always bring us a couple of bags, and oh my God, I love ketchup chips. They don't actually taste like ketchup. It's sort of like a spicy ketchup, really, to be honest. But they're, or like maybe a barbecue ketchup, I'm not sure, but they're delicious. No matter what the actual flavor is, they're delicious.
From barbecue to bacon,
Oh,
plain, rippled,
The Irish Try channel. These guys are fun.
or even dill pickle, the flavors of this popular snack
Dill
run
pickle,
the
I
gamut.
remember.
However, one flavor is notoriously famous for being available
Also,
almost
all
exclusively
dressed. Actually,
in
I've got
Canada.
some here
Ketchup.
right now.
That
All
is
dressed
nice.
chips. These are normally
not
only in
ketchup.
Canada
Definitely
too.
not ketchup. Nicer than ketchup.
Yeah, it is.
The condiment-flavored treat is a huge favorite of Canadians
Oh, yeah.
because it's
Delicious.
delicious and one that often confuses visitors from other countries. Although its origins are a little fuzzy, it was likely inspired by the long-standing pairing of ketchup and another potato-based food, French fries.
So I haven't had the Old Dutch ketchup chips. I normally have the Lay's. I think it's Lay's. Is this Lay's? Yeah, I normally have the Lay's ketchup chips. So I don't know if the flavor is the same. I suspect the flavor is not the same because the recipe would be proprietary.
Fries.
It's the powder or the seasoning, but it's working.
There you go.
Either way, it's one of many unique food items that many Canucks seem to long for.
Oh God, yeah.
Number 9, wear shorts.
Oh my God. I used to see this all the time. I do not understand these people at all. I'm in Florida now, and it is 40 degrees out there, like 5 Celsius. And I mean, you can see I got a sweater on now. I'll wear a winter jacket when I go outside now. I have never understood these people, but you see it all the time.
Cold weather. Yeah, the stereotypes are true.
They
Canadian
are.
winters can be bitterly cold. But what many may not know is that the climate goes extreme on both ends.
It does.
The government of Canada issued a warning today about a dangerous condition that seems to be spreading farther north thanks to global warming. White guys wearing shorts all winter.
So she's right about the extremes. So in Canada, I've seen it minus 56 degrees in Ottawa with the wind chill, and I've also seen it 104 degrees Fahrenheit. So minus 56 Celsius and Fahrenheit are pretty close to the same thing. Minus 42 degrees Celsius and Fahrenheit are exactly the same temperature. 104-ish degrees Fahrenheit, 40-ish degrees Celsius. You get that big of a swing in Ontario and in Ottawa specifically. It's nuts.
Sure, some places might dip below minus 40 in the winter, but some summers can see highs of 104 degrees Fahrenheit.
No, there you
or
go.
above 40 in Celsius, as Canadians would say. So with such a broad spectrum, it's no surprise that locals have acclimated to drastic changes in
this
temperature.
is just weird.
So much so that it...
I mean, the only thing I can think of with this is that he's running a lot. So in Canada with Canadian weather, especially when you're getting into the spring and the fall, the weather can change drastically in a single day. And you learn to layer your clothing, because if he's doing a lot of movement, he's going to sweat. No matter how cold it is outside, he's going to start sweating. Once you start sweating, your clothes get wet. They lose their ability to maintain the heat, and then you start to freeze. Like, it's insane. So, I mean, I kind of get why they're doing it, but I'd never do it.
It's fairly common to catch someone wearing shorts that you'd likely associate with warmer weather in the winter.
It is.
It's minus 20 out there today. Why, in good heavens, are you in shorts?
I'm in shorts, yeah. Why is the big question? I guess I like the cold.
He doesn't
After
even know.
enduring the heavy cold for several months, some residents will break out the shorts and walk outside in sub-zero temperatures. No one's going skiing like that, but you may very well see someone walking to the store in the snow in shorts and sandals.
Oh, I know guys that would never put on pants.
Some brave
Ever.
people. Braving the elements with shorts.
Number 8. Give their coins unique names.
That's
in
true, too.
1987, a gold-colored coin was introduced.
So 87 was actually the year I joined the Army. And I remember when we got rid of the $1
to
bills.
eventually replace the Canadian $1 bill.
Dollar coins will replace the bills that are now stuffed into fare boxes, reduce the number of quarters we have to carry around, and save Canadian transit authorities $2 million annually.
Slightly.
It's interesting. So everything that they just talked about was basically to make it easier for the transit authorities, the bus systems, to run and operate. But to be honest, when we changed from dollars to coins, I either didn't really notice too much of a difference or didn't really care all that much. So I don't know that it really had a big effect. But if it's going to save money overall, I mean, why spend money that you don't have to? For the government, I'm talking about. You know, why spend? Because the government gets their money from us. Why spend money that you don't have to? So, yeah, I'm for it.
Larger than a quarter, the $1 coin depicts Queen Elizabeth II on one side,
Loony.
and on the other is a bird seen widely across the country, the loon, hence its cute nickname, Loony. In 1996, the $2 bill was also replaced with a coin that received its own moniker, the toonie, as in the number 2 and the loony, even though it has a polar bear on it.
Introducing Canada's new $2 coin. Change that counts.
Among Canadians,
I remember
these
when
two
all that
coins
happened.
and their unique names are quite treasured.
It's federal currency, and you people talk about it like it's a Hanna-Barbera character.
In fact, at the 2002
so
Winter
what?
Olympics, a lucky loonie was hidden under the ice where both the Canadian men's and women's
I
hockey
remember
teams
that too.
won their gold medals.
It became a piece of Canadian lore after a loonie was hidden at center ice at the 2002 Salt Lake Winter Olympics as a good luck charm.
Yeah, so it was a Canadian company and a Canadian man specifically. There's a guy, I can't remember his name, but there's a guy who is considered like the Picasso of ice surfaces or something. And if I remember correctly, he's the one that did that ice and made sure that the Loonie got hidden right under center ice. Yeah, that was a big thing back in the day.
Have you ever heard of a more Canadian story than that? Number 7. Put Clamato in Bloody Mary.
Oh, yeah, this is for Caesars. Caesars, so I grew up in New Brunswick, and Caesars are a big drink in New Brunswick.
Marys. Should you travel anywhere in the world and walk into a bar and
I didn't even know what a Bloody Mary was growing up, but I knew what a Caesar was.
Ask for a Bloody Mary, the bartender is likely to serve you a tomato juice-based cocktail.
A little bit of lemon juice really helps pick up the flavors in that. And that's a simple way of making a simple Bloody Mary.
But for Canadians, their red drink is known as a Bloody Caesar and has one distinguishing difference from its counterpart, clam broth. Instead of tomato juice, Canadians use a mixture of both tomato juice and clam broth, known most famously as Clamato.
Really grabbed Canada by storm.
And Mott's
you see
is
this
the big
drink
one,
everywhere that Canadians get together.
A signature cocktail.
It's
the
true.
Caesar is
It's very
almost
true.
as common in Canadian bars as any of the high-powered
In
beers.
fact, I didn't even realize until I joined the Army and started going places outside of Canada. I didn't even realize that Caesar wasn't a drink that they have all over the world.
The country is known for. So next time you're above the 49th parallel and looking for a zesty beverage, try replacing your Bloody Mary with a Caesar, and your taste buds
Good
will
as
thank
alcoholic
That's
drinks
good.
go.
I haven't had one of those like in quite a long time, I must say.
Really good.
Number 6. Send letters to Santa, who lives there. Every year.
Okay, so this surprises me. I thought every kid that believes in Santa Claus, or every country that has some version of Santa Claus, and there's some version of Santa Claus, Father Christmas, Père Noël, whatever, all over the world. I thought they all sent letters to Santa Claus. Growing up, I did this every year, and that and the Sears Christmas Wish Book were how my mother figured out what it was to get me for Christmas.
Countless kids send letters to Santa Claus hoping to get their favorite toys for Christmas.
4-year-old Gavin isn't taking any
And in
chances.
Canada, he
He's
writes
going
back.
straight to Santa with his list of Christmas wishes.
Yes, lots of toys.
You want lots of toys from Santa?
For Canadian.
Yeah, and because he lives in Canada, he actually has a postal code, a Canadian postal code, which is HOHOHO, ho ho ho.
Canadian youngins, it's even easier given that Santa's address is actually in Canada. It even has its own special postal code, HOHOHO.
Oh, there you go.
Kid.
The O's are 0, so Canada uses letter number for their postal codes. So H0H0H0.
Kids and kids at heart can send letters addressed to the North Pole in Canada and are guaranteed to receive a reply.
How does he do it? No one's sure. But it's probably not all that hard for a guy who taught reindeer how to fly.
Whether the North Pole is actually in Canada is currently under debate, but that certainly hasn't stopped thousands of kids from sending
Canada,
letters every year. The country's national
it's
mail
generally
carrier,
understood that the
Canada
North Pole's
Post,
in
makes
Canada.
use of volunteers, or Santa's elves, if you will, to help keep this program active year after year.
So Canada Post has hired some special letter carriers to help out. They have lots of experience making deliveries, and they definitely know the way to the North Pole. Hey, there's Rudolph and the guys now.
Number 5, make unencumbered visits to Cuba.
Whoa.
Contrary to popular belief, residents of
Actually,
the
you know
United
what? I
States
have heard of
are
this.
actually allowed to travel to Cuba.
So I've been out of Canada since 2013, so I don't know if this is a recent thing or not, but I mean, I've always known that traveling to Cuba was not a good thing. I don't know when they changed this or if it was always like this or not, but this is new to me.
If you're willing to jump through a series of hoops to get there. But due to the U.S. embargo on Cuba, tourism hasn't been permitted for years.
Actually, that's where I live now.
Fearing
Tampa.
communism's expansion, sets up the embargo to strangle Cuba's economy.
Canadians, however, have not had any such restrictions. Cuba is often cited as one of the most popular destinations for Canadians who wish to escape the
Well,
cold
that's
winter.
interesting. Maybe it was never a problem for Canadians to go to Cuba, and maybe I was just misinformed. But that's not something that was common to me.
Months.
Canadians enter and leave Cuba at twice the rate of any other nationality, including Cubans themselves, which gives some idea
Okay, this
just
is
how
news to me.
dominant they are in the Cuban tourist market.
I have known recently that Canadians can and do go to Cuba, but I didn't realize it was at this kind of a rate.
Major airports have direct flights, and countless inexpensive, all-inclusive packages have made it easy for Canadians to enjoy beaches, sun, and, if interested, cigars in this Caribbean destination.
Blending the traditions of Spain, Africa, and its native peoples, and lit by the fires of independence and revolution, the aromas, textures, and flavors of this Caribbean.
So this is a little interesting too. So Canada is, for all intents and purposes, about one step or maybe even half a step off of being a socialist country. Taxes are very high, and those taxes are used for a great deal of social programs. There's pluses and minuses to that. I'm not going to get into that. But I think, I don't know. I think maybe there's some common ground there with Cuba. And I mean, let's face it, if you've got a good relationship with a country that is in a tropical area like that, yeah, I can see it becoming a vacation destination.
Be a nation are like no other.
Number 4, celebrate Thanksgiving in October.
So in Canada, we are taught that when we celebrate Thanksgiving was when Thanksgiving was originally celebrated in the United States. And for some reason, the Americans moved Thanksgiving to November. And I don't know that we're ever even told why, but we absolutely celebrate Thanksgiving in October. And Thanksgiving is not as much of a big thing as it is in the United States. I mean, Thanksgiving is still a day when you generally have turkey and get together with friends, but it is nowhere. In the United States, I've noticed that Thanksgiving is right up there with Christmas, and with some people, Thanksgiving is more important than Christmas here in the United States. Whereas in Canada, it's reversed. Christmas is by far the more important holiday.
Celebrate the harvest is fairly common around the world. But in modern media, we often hear about American Thanksgiving in November and the Black Friday sales and chaos that follow.
Well, turkey's burnt. Potatoes are ruined, potatoes are ruined, potatoes are ruined.
For
3 different
Canadians,
potatoes.
the same Thanksgiving holiday is actually celebrated in October.
Oh, right, I forgot. You guys are weird. You pronounce the word out.
Seemingly originating in 1579 during Martin Frobisher's excursion to find the Northwest Passage, it slowly evolved as the years passed, often dubbed Canadian Thanksgiving to distinguish it from its U.S. counterpart.
Canada does a lot of that. They try to distinguish themselves from the United States in a lot of ways.
Canada is not the only country that celebrates it in October.
The thing is, it's basically the exact same holiday, except earlier.
Grenada, St. Lucia, and even Germany celebrate similar festivals that same month. And honestly, it's nice to have a longer break between this giant meal and the one in December.
Is it Oh, the guy's got a Tim Horton. Oh, they both have Tim Hortons mugs. That's another thing that if you're not Canadian, you probably won't know what that is, but man, that's important in Canada.
Better to have Thanksgiving 1 month before Christmas that the Americans do, or is it better to have it two months before as Canada does?
Number 3, are sorry about being sorry. Ask virtually anyone around the globe.
So this is actually kind of true too, and I haven't really realized it until I got to the United States, but Canadians absolutely do say sorry, or if they don't say sorry, they apologize, or if they do something that would be a mistake or slightly offensive, like bump into somebody or get in somebody's way, that kind of thing. In general, Canadians are more polite than a lot of other countries, especially the United States, and they pride themselves on that. And I think that's a good thing.
To describe a Canadian, and they'll likely use one word: friendly. Canucks are widely considered some of the friendliest people in the world.
Oh, sorry there. Didn't see ya. You okay? I'm fine. Okay, sorry about that.
So friendly, in fact, that we've been stereotyped for apologizing for almost anything and everything.
Yeah, I mean, but that's just how we were brought up, right? That's how my grandmother taught me to be a good person.
It's become such an ingrained part of Canadian culture that the Ontario government had to pass the Apology Act of 2009, which stated that an apology does not automatically comprise an admission of guilt.
Well, this is a mugging. So,
What?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. If I could just get that wallet right there.
It's one of the more quirky aspects of Canadian culture that certainly distinguishes us from other countries, who shall remain nameless.
But it's
sorry,
it's a
we're
joke.
just too polite to call them out.
We say it correct. Sorry. I think that they just don't know how to say it because they never do it, or they just blame it on the nearest person and or country. They just do that.
Number 2, buy milk in bags.
Oh, so I grew up in New Brunswick, and this was a thing in New Brunswick. I moved to Ontario. This was a thing in Ontario. I'm not sure if it's a thing in every province in Canada, but this is 100% true, at least in New Brunswick and in Ontario.
At one time, the milkman came to your house and dropped off your bottles of milk.
Oh, it's only the milkman. Hey.
There was a little bit of this happening when I was growing up in the 70s and the early 80s, but that long gone.
Maybe I should be a milkman.
As cartons became the norm, people got used to buying them in stores.
Oh, and milk cartons, almost a staple in Canada. They're used for so many things. In fact, so much so that I see milk carton replicas being sold at Walmart down here in Florida now.
For Canadians, the shift from the imperial measuring system to metric also brought something new: milk in bags.
What is... It's so dangerous. What do you mean? Why? Why would you...
So this is interesting too. I don't understand why it's so funny to him. Okay, so you've never seen it before, but the amount of packaging that goes into this versus a single-use jug is probably 1/20th or less. So it's cheaper to manufacture. There's less waste, which is going into our landfills. Now, I don't know if the plastic that's used in the bags is any better or worse than the plastic that's used in the jugs. But, I mean, at least on the surface, there seems to be a good reason for it. And everyone has a bag holder. You saw that. There was the gray thing that they had in the clip earlier. And that's, you just keep that, right? You put the bag in it to dispense your milk. And then when you're done with the milk, you just throw that bag away and you put another one in the bag holder.
You put it in a bag.
As companies were shifting all of their containers to new sizes, milk bags were easy to change. Quickly enough,
you don't do
bagged
this.
milk
That's
became
silly.
quite popular and is still widely used
Oh,
today.
there you go.
Canadians aren't the only ones who
Oh,
use it
he's
either.
dumping it into the bag holder.
It's just kind of...
No, you're an idiot.
How's it taste?
Like, why would you think that that's the right thing to do when the bag holder literally is the exact size of the bag?
Sucking on a teat. Quite literally, actually.
China, Israel, South Africa, and even
Yeah, you don't do
Argentina
that.
all make use of the arguably more environmentally friendly container. But cut that...
They're either stupid or they're doing that for the effect. Like, it's self-explanatory.
corner hole too big, and you are in for an utterly disastrous bowl of morning Shreddies.
Your milk comes in...
Ooh, Shreddies. That's something that I have never found outside of Canada, and I miss Shreddies. So, Shreddies and shredded wheat. Another thing that I don't think I've ever found outside of Canada. Shredded wheat is kind of a large, I don't know, almost a biscuit of wheat strings, I want to say. It's and then you put it in milk, and then you put a little sugar on it, and you eat it that way. Shreddies are very similar, a little bit similar to Chex, but not made out of the same thing. And they're about the same size as Chex also, but they taste vastly different. They're absolutely delicious, and I miss them both.
Bags.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring
No,
the
no,
bell
no.
to get
Subscribe to my
notified
channel.
about our
Well,
latest
subscribe
videos.
to their channel
You
too,
have the
'cause
option to
this
be
is their
notified
video.
for
But subscribe to
occasional
my channel
videos or
too.
all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Yeah, what she said.
Number 1, sing national anthem in both languages.
Yeah, so this is interesting. We absolutely do that. Sometimes because we want to, and sometimes because we have to, and some people just don't. It's not as harmonious as you might think up in Canada with the French and the English languages.
Fun fact, the original O Canada national anthem was actually written in French and then translated to English in 1906.
Oh, see, this I didn't know.
And since then, the lyrics of the anthem have been updated occasionally to reflect the changing times. But one thing...
So this guy is a warrant officer. Yeah, you can tell. I'm assuming... I can't tell if that's a black or a green beret. So he's land forces. I don't know what his collar dogs are. Yeah, he's either a tanker or some other land force. The red sash tells me that he's a senior NCO, and the crown on his collar with no other ornamentation around it tells me that he's a warrant officer.
That hasn't changed is how both English and...
Oh, he's got a rack too. Holy crap. That's another thing that's really, really different about Canada and the United States. In Canada, we joke about the United States that they give out medals like Boy Scouts, Boy Scout badges, where in Canada it's very difficult to get a medal. This guy here is RCMP. Looks like they're at a Senators game.
and French are frequently intermixed during public
Oh,
performances.
I've seen this guy. I've seen him sing the national anthem. He's pretty famous in Ottawa. The Singing Mountie, I think they call him. The Toronto Maple Leafs. Interesting tidbit. I was born just after they won their last Stanley Cup. And since I've been alive, they have not won a Stanley Cup.
Often sung at sporting and other major events.
I know that unit. It's a reserve unit. I can't remember.
Is fairly
Cameron Highlanders, maybe?
Common for some portions of the anthem to be sung in English, then switch to French or vice versa, and then back several times.
Yeah,
I
that's
like
not
to call this
uncommon.
the hockey version. Given how both are official languages of the Great White North, it's a small way to showcase how the country leverages both of these great languages. Did you enjoy this video?
Well, there you go. That was the top 10 things only Canadians do and think it's normal. And I gotta say, every single one of those I think is normal. Having been down here in the States for 10 plus years now, though, I definitely understand the differences. And when you get outside of North America, things are vastly different. In fact, things that we take as granted in North America just as a whole, other countries find shockingly different, which is interesting to me because I've spent a lot of time in Europe, in countries that are far older than Canada or the United States. And I would say that the level of quality of life here in North America is in a lot of ways vastly superior to what I saw over in Europe and the Middle East primarily. So anyway, that's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching. This has been a Canadian Soldier Reacts video. Please leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subscribed. And I will see you on the next one. Bye.